really great. Not really good. Like no, it looks pretty dark. Are they? Yeah, they're pure white. Oh, yeah. Is that a big complex part of this? It would all be owned by the same company. None of these companies make sense. Yellow. As long as it's on dribble, man, that's all good. Thank you. I know you're more prepared than that. Yes. also like, I would imagine it's meant to be a continuation of that practice.
That's what I assume. Because the thing is, if I'm still setting up my tripod and everything, you can see
That would be
me
odd.
testing.
But you're a timely man. That's true.
I'm efficient. That you are.
Dino, where are you going to watch it from? The box. It's only like special purpose. You want tomorrow?
No. I would like to get started. When the second we see those players jumping out, we'll do it. That's okay with you? All right, let's do it. Just give me a thumbs up. A very good evening to you all, and welcome to Penshurst Park, the immaculate home ground of St George City, who today host the Western Sydney Wanderers NPL youth side. Of course, a side that only allows players up to the age of 23, those budding youngsters hoping to make their way into the professional game. It is set to be an enthralling clash. The Wanderers have a win to their name as they visit here, Penshurst Park. St George, despite their extremely good defence that they've displayed for the opening 3 games of the season, would want to pick up those first 3 points in a haul, of course. It is the Wanderers in their beautiful white away kit who make their way out onto the pitch first. We are still waiting for the home side. It is set to be a fantastic round 4 encounter. We've just about escaped the sun too, which for all of those watching here along, once again at this immaculate venue, are very, very welcoming of that shift in the climate indeed. My name is Marco De Poli. Thank you very much for joining us here tonight. Very appreciative to have you here. Don't forget to leave a like on the stream if you have not already. And buckle in, strap up, and get excited for another NPL New South Wales match day in round 4. Let's go through the lineups of these two sides, with the Wanderers sitting in 10th place, St George sitting in 13th. Not that after 3 rounds we should be looking at the table all too much. Let's begin with the visitors, shall we? Of course, it is Tristan Vidakovic who starts in goal, over 2 metres tall, and a former St George City representative as well, who also has an assist to his name, which he picked up in the Sydney Derby. Nathan Barry begins in the number 2 jersey. The 19-year-old, formerly of Manly United, of course, is eligible to represent Australia and Ireland, should he choose to choose one of those, as he goes forward. Next to him will, of course, be the likes of Bradley Marshall in the 26 jersey. As you can also hear the ground announcer behind us, who is chiming in fantastically well. Ricky Franson is preferred off the bench, as is birthday boy Ben Mewett. Oscar Morrison will begin, of course, with the captain's armband at the base of the midfield with the number 6 jersey. Rocco McNamara will begin at the left-back's position. And Rocco McNamara in the 21 jersey is only just 18 years old this year. Formerly of Sydney United, this is his 3rd out of 4th available starts, which is fantastic for the extremely young youngster, if you like, Jai Rose, who is actually donning a bit of bandage and strapping on his left wrist at the moment, will begin in the midfield. He will, of course, partner a man who has been lethal so far this season, Oscar Moore, with that incredible free kick up against Sydney FC in the derby, the second goal of that game. What a fantastic strike that was. And the front three is absolutely incredible. Alat Abdul Rahman, who has scored a goal this season and is an A-League representative, of course, next to Arwan Lawal, who has scored in the A-League. And the man who has been the most lethal for them in terms of goals providing and scoring, Harper Riles, gets a start through the middle of the 20 jersey. In goal for the home side, it is in fact Jack Kenny, of course, a Jets youth representative, the club player of the year last year. I believe it to be Benjamin Barry who begins in the number 3 at the right back position, alongside Solomon John Monahan Vaika, who is a very, very, very lucrative option when it comes to centre-backs, because he's already picked up a goal and an assist to his name this year, which were picked up both in last week's match in a comeback from 2-0 down to 2-2 against Sydney Olympic. Lewis Mikio will begin at the left-back position, and Matthew Warby will actually get a start today after coming off the bench after 45 minutes last week in what was a triple sub from Mirko Juril, which, of course, sprouted that 3-0 down to 3-0 comeback. Tarek Erjan will begin at the base of the midfield next to Paolo Mitri, who scored in this fixture back in 2024 when there was a 5-0 rout of the Western Sydney Wanderers. Jorn Pedersen and Hiroto Domoto, the latter of which picked up an assist last week from the corner. The two Japanese imports who formerly represented Yokohama SCC together between the years of 2020 to 2023 are looking for their first respective goals for the club this evening. Matthew Jackson retains his starting position, as does Mason Tatafu, who rounds out that defence, by the way. Thanks very much for joining us once again. The ball in play for just over a minute now, with the Wanderers holding the lion's share of the early possession. Once again, my name is Marco DePoli. Thank you so much for joining us here at Penshurst Park. And let's get our noses right into the action. McNamara set that in field towards Oscar Morrison, the captain, of course. And then found Jai Rose, who is another one who's picked up A-League minutes so far for the Wanderers this year. A fantastically youthful and potent front line, which I think you'd be right to include Jai Rose in there. A team of the season inclusion last year from the bench, according to NPL New South Wales, but did so for the majority of the season as a 17-year-old. An absolutely fantastic achievement from the son of a gun, as that ball is put in behind, as St George look to play long and direct in the opening moments of this game, but that'll be the easiest claim that Tristan Vidakovic will have all night. And he spreads it out wide to Rocco McNamara, who's only 18 this year and has plenty of years left to fledge at this level of football, as he hunts down an A-League spot, I'm sure, and Vidakovic this time spreads it out to his right. No space in the starting lineup this time for 20-year-old Jesse Cameron. And that was Domoto who had the ball whisked away from him, and right on the halfway line flag, the throw-in is taken quickly. Tafu, who made a really prominent career playing at state level, stateside, before returning back to Australia via the NPL Victoria and then via the Australian Championship through Bayswater City, who won 7-0 overnight. So early foul there by Alat Abdul Rahman, and the ball is played very quickly. Matty Wabi comes forward, just 22 years old for the number 2, and he's got some real pace on him, and he wins a throw-in right by the right-hand side corner flag. An early show of intent from the man who is looking to lock down that starting spot. A long throw to come in perhaps from the number 2. He's really taking his time to tee this one up, and now he launches it in. It is a good-looking ball towards the edge of the box, and there is some serious height in this St George team, but the young Wanderers are able to clear it away. Only as far as Solomon John Monahan Vaika, who sends it out wide haphazardly to Mikio, who somehow gets it back in at the first time of asking, onto the edge of the box towards a strike from distance, which brings Vidakovic into his first leaping save, which he makes with aplomb. And the danger alleviated on the Wanderers early. And Vidakovic sends it back out wide. Marcel sends it back towards his incredibly tall goalkeeper. Rocco McNamara goes back to his centre-back here, Nathan Barry. 4th year at the club for the 19-year-old. No Atia Waraga, who usually dons the number 11 jersey for the Wanderers, are preferred in the A-League squad. They do, however, have Arwan Lual. So the A-League squad and Gary Van Egmond kind enough to lend the Wanderers NPL side one of their incredibly talented frontliners. This is Nathan Barry. He's got 7 yellows and 1 red from 19 games last year. He's known to break up the play rather frequently. Snuffed out really well there by Tatafu, and they're picked up by Lual, who crossfields switch, looking for his left-back McNamara, was a little overcooked. And it will be Wabi who has a throw-in. Kelly Jones, your centre referee, says just hold up and take it back a couple of paces, which he did, then finally puts it back in play. Benjamin Berry was the one who received before finding Tatafu, then switch it out wide, but the Wanderers have won it back. And forward they come with real pace and a chance perhaps to put it in early, but really good show of strength there from a much more senior figure. And Tatafu shielded exceptionally well for a goal kick and a first touch of the ball for Jack Kenny. A reminder, last year's Club Player of the Year. Touted by many as one of the up-and-comers in between the sticks. Arrived at the ground, by the way, very, very, very early. Looked focused from the second he touched down. A keeper of real focus. Goes back behind his own dead ball line and launches this one into the Penshurst night sky. Wow, fantastic distance on that one. Rising up highest was, I believe, Jorn Petersen, who is a Japanese international representative with a Danish father's first and last name influence. Jorn Petersen, which with the Danish dialect is actually pronounced Peterson, not Pedersen. Will he be the one to crack open his account for St George City here tonight? 2 goals in quick-fire succession last week against Olympic means that at least the St George boys come into this game off the back of a fantastic second half. Arwan Lual uses his left foot and brings Wabi's forehead into the equation, but the glance off of his head puts it out for a Wanderers corner. So advantage is the way of the home side in terms of height. What can the Wanderers muster in terms of their creativity, perhaps? It will be Jai Rose, who, as I mentioned, is strapped up on that left wrist. It looks like he will go direct into the box. One hand raised by the man who picked up an assist last week against Sydney United. Really good ball in, but cleared away. No real contest for the ball. And then from distance, a pot shot that was skewed, to say the least. And now it's a 1v1. And in the end, it was really well recovered by Oscar Morrison. And the former Blacktown Spartans youth player, who just had to trot up the road before joining the Wanderers some 8 years ago, who's still at the club and now wears that captain's armband at 18, goes down and looks a little ginger after that massive coming together there with Matty Jackson. So it will be the first free kick of note, which has taken 8 minutes or so. It's been a perfectly well contested and fairly contested game. Alat Abdurrahman, whose 1 goal came in the Sydney Derby, which is technically the winner in the Sydney Derby too, for the young teenager. Competing with the touchline and 2 players in Matty Jackson and Urjan in front of him. Jai Rose picks it up just inside of his own half, given away. It's silly, but fortuitously the Wanderers will retain possession. Trickling all the way back to Vidakovic, who just plays it nice and short to Nathan Barry to his left. Now the left side of centre-back goes back to his goalkeeper right in the middle of his 18-yard box, and this time he spreads it out wide once again. That outball has happened a few times, and I think St George read it on this occasion. Back to Vidakovic again, this time on his left foot for a man who's picked up a couple of A-League caps as well. Barry plays it first time to Rocco McNamara, back in the squad starting today. Oh, in strong with Solomon John Monaghan Viker, who is still trudging to get alongside Jai Rose, who finds Arwan Lual, who has legs for days up against Mikyo. That's inside to try and find support in the end. There might have been a handball there. At least there was an appeal from both sides. Won't matter though, because Kelly Rose just gives the throw after the ball was cleared. But the Wanderers are finding forays forward down that right flank. And Luis Mikio, who has experience being promoted into the Vanarama National League with Slough inside the last 18 months, was the one of all people who was beaten to the ball there. A scorer of incredible goals too is the left back who wears number 5. And at this very venue too. Tatafu picks it up inside of his own box. Only one player, his keeper behind him. He launches that one inch perfect out wide to Domoto, who then drops it back in for Mikio, who then goes back behind his own halfway line into his own half. Tatafu playing the long ball. Looking for his striker, which he has found. McNamara stands up really well, becomes into the edge of the box. And it was a good show of intent to try and run directly at defenders from Paolo Mitri. But the man who, as I mentioned about 15 minutes ago, scored in this fixture back in 2024, was not able to get a direct shot off at goal. And Mikio will come across to take an in-swinging corner, which is where you think St. George City might be able to muster an opportunity, especially after their 2 goals from set pieces last year. Ball back into the mixer and struck directly at goal and into the side netting. It looked for all money's worth like it might have actually trickled in to Tristan Vidakovic's right-hand side corner, but in the end, the side netting. And he looks to release Lual quickly, and he is quick himself in a bit of a shirt-tugging contest with his oppressor, Solomon John Monaghan-Vaika. It's picked up again by the Wanderers, looking to burst open the goal-scoring ranks early, but in the end, a little touch off someone in red's head, and it's back to Kenny, who releases it incredibly quickly, and that might bring about the first yellow, and McNamara will be cautioned and living on a knife's edge for the rest of the game, as he has fast wingers and fullbacks running at him for the next 80 or so. It'll be the easiest yellow card decision of Kelly Jones' evening, I imagine. Absolutely clear. And an injury concern as well, which is a real shame. Physio straight across. Wow, Physio showing a good bit of legs there. Might be the sub on winger if it comes to it. The opening 12 minutes or so, evenly contested. Half chances at either end, including that one for St. George that was first blocked, then ricocheted, and then the second phase hit the side netting. That was probably the best opportunity of the game. Lawal has been lively. Want to see more of Harper Riles up top too. A fantastic player. Wabi is okay, as is, of course, the man who went down under that challenge in Matty Jackson. Looking to break a goal drought here tonight is Matty Jackson in his new colours. Let's see if that might just spur him on that challenge that he's come out a little worse for from, but I'm sure it's just a bit of a knock. He is a tough cookie, but he is not afraid to show the kind of strenuous effect that's had on him, that impact there with Rocco McNamara. Testing ball into the middle there. Chan was quick to read. In fact, it was Solomon John Monaghan-Vaika, and the shot comes in, and Tristan Vidakovic again finds it easy to claim, and that's a couple of chances for St. George that have come and gone without really testing the young goalkeeper of the Wanderers. And you'd have to say, on the balance of that chance there, it's St. George who look the more likely so far. The Wanderers need to make sure that they hold out. Like I said, St. George coming into this game off the back of an incredibly good second half. Oh, lovely work there. And the shirt pull by Wabi was very clear, but the offside flag alleviates any of that. And it will just be a free kick after Abdul Rahman was indeed offside in the build-up. Played square by Ben Berry, formerly of Blacktown City. This is his first year at the club, just his 4th appearance, sent it behind. I thought for sure he was offside, and in fact he was. Paolo Mitri sends that one under the Daralek sponsorship sign. And 2 offsides in a matter of 45 seconds, 1 apiece. 14 minutes played exactly. 0-0 between these two. The Wanderers, of course, if you have just joined us, the away team donning the white kits as that's sent outside to Marcel. Crosses the halfway line and beats his man and beats the shirt. Pull 2. He's made some good yardage here, the right back. He delivers in a good-looking ball. Allah Abdul Rahman was there. He couldn't quite get his right foot onto it, but he puts his body in the way of that challenge of Matty Jackson, and he retains possession excellently well. McNamara, the man who picked up a yellow card a couple of minutes ago, will recycle things and goes back to Berry. And momentum kind of taken out of the moment for the Wanderers, but they'd be happy with the ease at which they have found success up that right-hand side in the early moments of this game. That's been the passage for them. Fortuitously, that'll bounce back to them as Oscar Morrison sends that one out wide. Beautifully accurate square pass in a game. Muscle comes forward. Awan Lawal is quick. And Solomon John Monaghan Viker is strong in the challenge. Well, the number 4, the big number 4, of course, is a mindset coach. That is his bread and butter Monday to Friday. Be hard-pressed to find a man who doesn't keep his composure, even when dealing with particularly zippy young Wanderers kids. And he's done expertly well so far in the opening moments of this game. It'll be an outswinging corner this time. On the far side of the pitch, one hand raised again. From Jai Rose, Berry was there. It was headed somewhat in the direction of goal. But in the end, Jack Kenny will rush out and have time to roll the ball between his feet. And now finally picks it up. And that's 16 minutes played. Another Wanderers chance to add to the list. Another one to go begging for both sides is Lawal, showing that level of professionalism that he brings. 3-3 for Awan Lawal. Didn't score in the first week, but picked up a brace in the derby. And then won last week against Sydney United 2. Half a chance here, Erjan, who's one of the remaining men from the promotion season several years ago now. Was there when it was tougher, has stayed and reaped the rewards of his loyalty. A formidable player and looking to put that bit between his teeth after being subbed off. Of all people, the captain subbed off at half-time last week. But he was trusted to start here again, and he's had a solid opening 18 minutes or so. Couple of losses of possession for both teams there in the last 45 or so. But it will be the Wanderers through Bradley Marcel who will take the throw eventually, and they do, and sent long towards Harper Riles, chasing down to Tafu. This finds its way back to Kenny, who then Neuer-esque dinks it back to his composed centre-back, and the former Bayswater City man just sends it forward right in the halfway line, but picked up by the Wanderers, and Marcel again, who's had a very, very composed game, has Brad. Just his first year at the club. Brad Marcel came from SD Raiders, so could have stuck around and hoped for a first grade spot with the promotion winning team. Opted not to, perhaps the lure of what's to come for playing for the WSW badge. Opportunistic, I like it. Sent away, strong and powerful header there at the back by Noah Ovens. Ovens involved again in that 13 jersey. He's come a little bit out of position here, the man with blue boots. Really good show of footwork and then drilled in towards the front post, but easily claimed by Tristan Vidakovic, who will happily take those all night. But St George working themselves back into the game after that momentum shifted slightly towards the away side. Still deadlocked at 0-0 here. 18 minutes and a couple of seconds passes on by. Best chance of the game still has fallen so far to the home side. Vidakovic finds Nathan Barry. There's a Barry on one side and a Berry on the other. Don't get them confused. Marcel, perfect touch out of the sky. Sends it back to Noah Ovens. McNamara, a reminder, on a yellow card. Ben Mewett, the likely man to replace him if he is to be replaced in the second half. Really well defended there at the back by Matthew Warby, once again proving a wanted man and doing his best to be wanted. Is the 22-year-old. And long comes that throw in. And it was an attempt at a flick on there by Jon Peterson. It was actually won by the Wanderers, or at least enough to glance Peterson's header out into touch for a throw. Back to Barry. And Barry to Ovens. Just inside the midfield third of the pitch, but still behind their halfway line as they bounce up between each other, the two centre-backs, and now finally out wide to Marcel. Inside here towards Oscar Morrison, being hounded by the press of D'Amato, I do believe. Back behind the halfway line to Barry. He looks to get it caught between his feet and then did well to get it out and reclaim his balance. Marcel, who's been good so far, sends that towards Lawal, but it was snuffed out easily by the captain, Monaghan Viker. And then a little tug and a trip. And Kelly Jones, the centre referee, calls for a free kick. St George, on 20 minutes, will be able to potentially launch this one into the box. No, they don't. They opt to go backwards. This is Mason Tatafu. Oh, it looked like a loose touch, but he's far too composed for those around him. And then he does win a free kick, and he didn't even look like he broke a sweat or had a hint of stress about him. And then he launches it long, and once again, it looks real good. It forces D'Amato into a jump, and Mikio was there, who keeps it in, and there's half a chance, if not for Oscar Morrison. Ball is loose to Ovens, drilled passing to Jai Rose. The number 10 turns on a dime and crosses the halfway line, being closed down by Urjon, who tries to slide in. He does so unsuccessfully. This is Luau, the striker, who's playing off to the right tonight. Momentum taken out of the move in a moment, and Mikio does well to recover. St George did well to track back in defence there. It is a staple of their game. The Wanderers will have a throw. 21 minutes played. Jai Rose was free. Lual was the option selected by the throw-in taker. Rocco McNamara being closed down by Matty Jackson. These two have a bit of a contest, I'm sure, for the rest of the game. McNamara has to be careful. He is, but loses the ball in the process. Barry will want to win this one out of the sky. Nice touch infield and then sends Ovens on his merry way, but Vidakovic will claim instead. Really nicely done there by the 19-year-old centre-back. Really, really nicely done. St George opting not to press in the opening moments of this game, but neither are the Wanderers, so plenty of time for both sets of defenders on either side of the pitch to have some time to settle on the ball. Finally getting to see Oscar Moore involved a little bit more. Want to see more of Moore. Lawal, expert, wins a free kick. Has looked dangerous every time he's come near the ball. But they've nullified him so far. Yet to see Lawal have a direct shot at goal. Lawal, who penned a 3-year scholarship deal with the Wanderers, which you would imagine gives him 3 seasons to prove himself at this level of the game. He's already proving himself, if you ask any avid Wanderers fan who watches either the NPL or the A-League unit. Quite the talent. It's Jai Rose standing over this one again. 1 assist already to his name this season. That was last week. Again, one hand raised. It looks a little overcooked. It is. Wabi will see it go all the way out with Lawal providing no pressure. And it is, unfortunately, a wasted opportunity by the away side. 23 and a bit minutes into this one, but Wabi has to take this throw in from right by his own corner flag. But he's capable of doing long throws of that echelon. He does not win his side a throw-in, though, after it was given away by Jorn Peterson. Missed a year of football, did Jorn Peterson, due to a ACL tear. Has recovered and now made his way to Australia. Rocco McNamara for the Wanderers, the left back. This is Oscar Morrison. Finds Noah Ovens. It goes back to Nathan Barry. Crosses the halfway line himself for once. The marauding centre-back. And a clip over the top, but Tatafu was able to shield it. Enough for Jack Kenny to claim. And then do what he does best, but even his own team were unable to read just how far he could hoof it off of his right boot. He's got that Matt Ryan-esque technique of almost going laterally when he kicks the ball. His body contorts in an amazing way. It's an extremely impressive show of athleticism. Tatafu, expert off the chest. Good shielding here by Jorn Peterson. Noah Ovens trying to slow him down. He does just enough to not bring about the whistle as well, and he slows down St. George. But Matty Jackson is able to be explosive with his sprint, and he lays it off to his captain. Ercan sends it out wide to Wabi. Back inside towards Tarek Ercan. Fed in pass, drilled into Jackson and cleared away by Rocco McNamara. This is back with the number 6, the captain. Just about crosses the halfway line through the middle sector of the pitch before crossing it back past the halfway line to find Tatafu. A chance for Ben Berry to send it forward. He opted not to, and then he found Ercan, who's then upended his man and gives away a free kick. Jai Rose went down in a hurry there. So Lawal has swapped with Alat Abdul Rahman. And now the captain of St. George is going to go to the sideline to chat, I would imagine, to Mirko Juril. Is it a drinks break? Well, perhaps because... Thank you. A chance for players observing Ramadan to break their fast as we cross past 7:46 in the evening. And so we take a well-deserved break, of which I'll remind you if you guys have just joined. It is 0-0 between these two teams. St. George, of course, looking to earn their first win of the season, but just 4 rounds in, this being the 4th. Not too much to stress about just yet. Plenty of the season to come. The Wanderers have earned a win in a hotly contested, and I think it'd be appropriate to say fiery Sydney derby, of which they were brilliant and potentially played their best football of the season. You ask their coach, Pani Nikas, not me. Both these two teams, I would say, look pretty evenly poised in the opening almost third of this match. And a credit to both sets of players and officials and Football New South Wales as a whole for allowing the break to occur. The players move back into position and we await the return of the ball being in play. Back in play we are. Little roll under the foot from Rocco McNamara to find Barry. And these two bounce between themselves again. McNamara cuts back inside, slips over though. One back by Matty Jackson, being trudged and tracked by Alat Abdul Rahman, and then in the 2v1 he came out unsuccessful, but he made some 30 yards there with his pulsating run forward. And Matty Wabi, the right back, who sits behind the line of Matty Jackson, will pick up the scraps via the throw-in. Going down under the challenge was Abdul Rahman, but it was actually in favour of the Wanderers. Thought it might have been Paolo Mitri who would have been the beneficiary of the whistle there, but he was not. And in the end, not a single protest from either side, which means it is the perfect call. Sent out wide by Ovens. Marcel living a little dangerously. Oscar Morrison, he gives the ball away, but free kick. Ooh, alleviates any kind of pressure on the Wanderers there, who had 3 or 4 red shirts bearing down on goal with real intent. And they've survived a slight scare there. Marcel goes back to Ovens, who squares to find his other centre-back partner. Press being led by Jorn Peterson on that occasion. Now Paolo Mitri will do it on his own. Mitri looking for his first goal of the season. Should he score against a team he doesn't mind scoring against. Barry. 29 minutes played. 0-0. Oscar Morrison in behind. And it required a decisive moment from the goalkeeper, Kenny. But he did so with what looked like ease. But that was a good show of experience there in that decision-making. The touch off the chest by Jackson is a little loose, and Alat Abdulrahman picks it up. And the Wanderers retain possession. They've probably had the more of it, especially in the last 10 minutes or so. Oh, lovely pass, clipped out wide towards Rocco McNamara. What's your delivery like, son? And in the end, he brings Kenny into a high ball claim. Looks to play that ball quickly, and then he tried to play it to one of his centre-backs instead slowly, and in the end, he opts for the former and sends it long again, and Noah Ovens will get his head to it first. It was picked up there by Oscar Moore in the 23 jersey, who then goes down under the challenge. And a free kick well won there, I believe, by Mitri. So free kick, some 18 yards from the 18-yard box. In the end, they go backwards. St George opting to hold it, safety first. And now the entire 22 base midfield defence and attack move forward in one swift motion, both sides, and a bit of a wayward bouncing, bobbling pass back to Jack Kenny forces him to send it long, feeling a little bit of a pinch and a little bit rushed. 1/3 of the game crosses on by here at Penshurst Park, a ground in which St George have been the winners on more occasions of which they have not against this outfit. 6 wins, only 1 loss here at this home ground for St George City. That is a formidable record. Living a little dangerously was Jack Kenny. Took one more touch perhaps than those watching might have liked. Alat Abdulrahman picks it up left of the 18-yard box, being closed down by 2. Good defending, but good trickery as well. And then away comes St George City. And there's so much space to burn for Mitri, who is quick and plays a good ball out wide to bring in Domoto, who picked up an assist last week. He enters the box, trying to beat his man, which he does. Cuts back onto his right. Again, momentum taken out of the moment a little bit. Wanderers have got back in defence well, and the referee says get up under that challenge. It was a good recovery, and now it's 2v2, and one of those is Lawal. Lawal still running directly at St George City defenders, but held up really, really well by Tatafu, who is showing why he was such a heavily touted marquee defensive signing in the off-season. Fantastic work by a fantastic player, and that one was overcooked. The game opening up a little bit in transition, you'd have to say. Well, in a down moment, I'll turn my head and ask the St George coaching staff, am I getting it right? Is it opening up in transition? What do you guys think? Fantastic. They're in agreement. Very kind of them. Morrison dropping the deepest he has so far to pick up the ball, and he spreads it out wide to Rocco McNamara. 2 18-year-olds linking up, or at least 18 this year they will be. Morrison fortuitously comes off his head and finds a wanderer around him, but taken off of Moore there, and away comes St George. The motto, the loose touch, tried to use his right instead of his left, and he got caught off balance. Quickly taken by Bradley Marcel. Back to Vidakovic as the Wanderers again slow things down. 33 into this one. Still deadlocked, which is becoming a bit of a story of the season for St George. Very, very solid defensively, and that is something they'll, I'm sure, reap the rewards of as the season goes on. Defence wins you titles, they say, and that was a clear and obvious free kick. Jai Rose back to his feet, but that wouldn't be one that just stings, I'm sure. Leave a mark at the morning. Wanderers retaining possession once again. Alat Abdulrahman. Loose touch taken off of him by Wabi, and now it's a foot race, which Alat wins. Well recovered there by the young'un. Jai Rose. Morrison. Rose again. So composed in the middle of the park. Luwal against some big bodies around him too. Oscar Morrison finds his left back in space, being closed down by Jackson. That was really well done to shield him and force him to go backwards. And the same there by Jord Peterson. This is Barry. Back to Noah Ovens. Looked like an under-hit pass, but in the end, Urchan and Oscar Morrison, the two number 6s of both their sides, and the two respective captains as well, separated by just the 12 years. Ball fed in behind, but D'Amoto didn't have his footing about him. Jai Rhodes rides that challenge exceptionally well. And now it's Lual. The A-League lads link out. Ball into the box looking for Abdul Rahman, and it was well defended there by Ben Berry, who is proving his worth in just his 4th appearance for the club. But it will be a Wanderers corner. They have conceded that. 35 minutes played in a game searching for its first goal. It will be Rose. Deeper that one, looking for Noah Ovens, who's the tallest of a young lot. Good press here by Jackson. Forces a hurried, rushed pass, and it brings about a round of applause from the faithful watching along. Jack Kenny sends that one long into the night sky. A night which is growing in darkness by the moment. And in the end, yes, they make a lot of yards. And perhaps they want to be boxing in the Wanderers, almost like a Premier League-esque kickoff, where people have started hoofing it to the left or the right of the 18-yard box and then putting pressure on immediately. Strong by Monaghan Viker on Jai Rose, but Jai Rose remained composed, and now Arsenal crosses the halfway line trying to feed it in behind, but I think that was Mikio who read it really well, and that's D'Amoto, who is a playmaker. And there is Jackson. And Matty Jackson is lightning, and he keeps it in, but can he beat the press? Cuts it back to the edge of the box. This is Wabi. But the Wanderers have got players back now. Been 15 or so minutes since the last good St George chance, although Wabi, the right back, puts it onto his left foot and puts it into the adjacent playground, unfortunately. 37 minutes played. Still 0-0. Obviously, this may sound stupid in isolation, but this really does feel like a game where the first goal could be the decisive one. That's the way it's poised at the moment, in my opinion. Nice turn of pace there by Barry, who makes it all the way to the halfway line, and Jai Rose does well to beat one and then two, and then beats his opposite number, then puts that ball overcooked out wide for a throw as he searched for Lual, and Mikio will line it up. Creeping closer to half-time. Rose in strong again. Won well, though, by Mitri. And in the end, cleared away by Tatafu. This time on his left boot. Sends it into the Wanderers technical area. And a touch of the quality you'd expect from a man like Mr. Paninikis. McNamara. Barry picks it up. Does feel like Barry is the preferred outball from defence. Lual. Look to run forward, then cut back. Sold the dummy well. And the game slows to a halt as Vidakovic picks his pass to McNamara. Ricochets into the midfield to find a grateful Oscar Morrison, who then launches it to the head of a tall Ben Berry. Jackson stays on his feet. Good dribbling there by Matty Jackson. Lovely work. Sent forward by Solomon John Monaghan Viker. And forward comes the captain, who sends it out wide. That's a really good ball to D'Amoto. Once again, he's got an assist to his name this year. What about one for the captain? Oh! It should have been 2-2 for the number 4. And it should have been St George on the precipice of half-time with a goal to their name. But not to be. But an expertly well-worked move. Monaghan Viker created a triangle all by himself. that started from the halfway line and ended on the 6-yard box. And perhaps he should have finished it, but credit to him. He made that move all by himself. Rose, as the Wanderers look to respond with their own opportunity and sent away via the sliding challenge of Tatafu. Into touch. Throw in it will be. The best chance of the game goes a begging. And the Wanderers now holding possession with every man bar Vidakovic in the opposing half. Barry sends it out wide to Alat Abdul Rahman. Couple of step overs, then cuts past or attempts to cut past his man, and Wabi read it too well. And then Wabi is too big and strong. And on goes Wabi. He's been good tonight too. Wabi, it's a 2v4. The Whites have the supremacy. But Ewan Peterson is looking for that first goal. Hashed, unfortunately. That kind of showed the desperation of a person who's desperate to get that first goal. But take nothing away from the run of Wabi, who's been impressive, and I'm going to be sad to see him go to the opposite side of the pitch in the second half. Been great to watch under my eye. We're into the final 5 minutes, of which I can imagine a couple more would be added on due to the temporary break in play. Vidakovic has the ball outside of his own safety area. Urged by the crowd to play it quicker. It comes back to him via Nathan Barry, who hasn't scored a goal in 5 years. Barry, wouldn't it be a moment for him to find one tonight as the Wanderers hunt a second win of the season? Long towards Abdul Rahman, one in the air by Ben Berry, and now Jackson has a chance. Peterson to his right, through the middle is a line that he might take himself. Just one touch too many. There was options either side of him in the end. Perhaps a moment of slight selfishness. Oh, and Berry goes down under the challenge. But he's okay, gets back to his feet, and Damoto. Lovely touch out of the sky. Can he beat his man, Marcel? Marcel's been good today in attack. What about in defence? Damoto does well to get the ball back in. Perhaps could have had 1 or 2 assists already to his name. Could Damoto? They still have the ball on the edge of the box, St George City, trying to find their way into the danger area. Lovely by the captain, and then a header back, and then a strike on goal! That had to be it from Damoto. From one of the best chances in the game to another for St George in a matter of moments. And if they don't find themselves in front before the halftime whistle is blown, I'm not going to say that they'll be kicking themselves, but they'll certainly be wary of the fact that they have the potential to get some goals in this game. 2 scored all season. And you could argue there should have been 2 scored already tonight, perhaps if not more. They have the quality. What about the cutting edge? Fascinating game of football, truly. Barry. 3 to go before we enter any stoppage time if necessary. Cut out there by Tatafu. Super solid game. Spread out wide to Matty Jackson, who's been electric. And he's now run into the box, running directly at men, including a man who's cautioned and tests Vidakovic. And it's cleared, and then cleared a bit more comprehensively this time. Alat Abdul Rahman bounced off the ball by Urjan. And Rose sends it out wide. Lawal, strong use of the body to shield, but he's facing away from the goal that he wants to be aiming at. Strong challenge in there. Advantage play for the time being, only for a couple of moments. And a yellow card is brought out, I believe, there to Paolo Mitri. And the number 10 picks up a yellow. 2 for the game. 1 apiece. Barry. It's creeping ever so forward as this half goes on. We are into the 44th minute. Or perhaps will be in a matter of moments. Lawal, that ball was not directed to the 9-time A-League men's appearance maker. 9 appearances, but only 49 minutes on the pitch, without including any added-on / stoppage time. Dalmoto, arguably the best player in the park in the first half. Oh, lovely turn there, and a foray into the box. This should be the first one. A bounce and a point to the spot by the referee. And St George, who have had the better of the second quarter of this game, are going to get a chance on the cusp of half-time to put themselves in front. And it is now a question of who will take this spot kick in search of a third goal of the season and a first here tonight in round 4. So it was Mitri who won it with his expert turn and dart into the box. Peterson is looking for his first goal on Australian shores. Ercan is there, and Peterson's had the ball pushed out of his hands by Barry, and then he's pushed by the St George captain. A little bit of a don't do that again. But this is a real good opportunity for Peterson. Jorn Peterson, the 28-year-old, from J3 to the NPL New South Wales. And now there's a bit of a kerfuffle on the edge of the box. And just to calm down, please, lads. We are now into added on time. And after a bit of a delay, it's Peterson with the crowd quiet and 2 meters, 0.01 in goal to beat. It is Peterson for that first goal on Australian shores, and it is a comfortable finish into the bottom left-hand corner. Sent the keeper the wrong way, and they are in front by 1, and it is a lead that they deserve on the balance of play in this first half. 3 significant chances, and third time is a charm for St George City. And that is their third goal of the season, and it is one that is so welcomed in this clash in particular. It will be a test of their defence from now on. They have not been in front at all this season. It is a test of that classic St George City rigidity. They've got 45 minutes, we imagine, to hold out and do what they have become very good at doing over the last couple of years under the tutelage of the great Mirko. Last moments, you imagine, of this first half, but maybe 2 or 3 more minutes to add on because of the delay, not just for the break around the 1/3 mark of the game, but for how long it took for Peterson to grab that penalty, which we will count that as an assist for Paolo Mitri, because that turn and foray into the box deserves recognition. Don't go anywhere too far from your screens as we head into the halftime break. We'll be back before you know it. A chance for Dalmoto, who's been so good. Puts another ball back in. It was a scuffed clearance by Ovens. And that will trickle all the way out for a throw-in right by the corner flag. And if St George get on their bike here, they could create 1 or 2 more opportunities. And again, if they were to get a second one, I would almost put my house, which I'll never be able to afford, on them holding out this game. Played short. That's the captain, who fires it back to Wabi. And then he looked to punt the ball into Alat Abdulrahman. Any Wanderers jersey will do, but he missed. And it looks like the captain, Tarek Ercan, just wants to get back into the sheds and adjust. Well, he will have that opportunity now. It is 1-0 to St George City, who find themselves in front, deservedly so, after a fantastic response to some early Wanderers pressure. They grew into that first half. And after Paolo Mitri turned expertly and drove into the box, went down under a challenge, a correct call on the penalty by Kelly Jones, which was dispatched with professionalism by Jorn Peterson. Once again, my name is Mark DePoli. Thanks for joining us for this first half. Come back in about 10 minutes or so, but right now, 1-0 to the home side. Pardon me?
Yeah, I'm trying to be better. I don't come from a great history of family heart health. And I like pre-workout. So that's my like trade-off. You enjoying this game?
It's not a bad game. It's enjoyable. A lot of opportunities there.
any more like charging spots or not?
What do you want to charge?
Oh, my phone, I guess.
USB-C.
Yeah,
That's about it.
that'd be great. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks, boss. You don't need that. Correct. I'm going to charge my phone, but I'll do it on the drive.
No, go for it. No. Oh, I'll just take it like 20 or something, and then I'll be totally fine. Thanks so much.
No worries.
You come here, you help me set up, you do a sound check, and you give me electricity.
Help you set up. You plug it in. You're the guy.
That's it, you're the guy. I need a pull-up bar, bro. My back.
Oh,
Pressed.
I know. Mine was bad.
Dude, I just need to hang. I just need a dead hang. I tried to do it there, I nearly ripped one of my lats out. Weird.
Do it off this one.
Yeah. No, I will. Crucify myself.
Maybe they'll shorten the next half now. Lead into it.
Realistically, like, half-time breaks could be as short as 5 minutes. It's not like,
Yeah.
it's not really meant to be a break.
Yeah, well, we don't need to come all the way down here. Let's just waste some time. Do what AFL does, they quarter break. Come off the side, have a drink.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. deep into the evening time now, and if you have already forgotten, right at the end of the first stanza, St George City found themselves 1 goal to the good after Paolo Mitri was fouled inside the area, to which, after a slight delay, Jorn Peterson, the Japanese international, formerly of the J3, picked up his first goal in St George City colours, to much applause from this adoring, faithful home crowd here in the beautiful city of St George. Once again, my name is Mark DePoli. Thank you so much for joining us here as we welcome in the second half to be starting soon. Just waiting for the most important person out there on the pitch to get us back underway, that being the centre referee. St George doing a little bit of reactivation as they head back into their respective positions. The Wanderers looking serious business, already ready to go. I'll alert you of any changes that spring to my eye. It looks like it is about the same so far. There's no need for the St George triple change as we observed last week, although it did reap rather good rewards, didn't it? Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to leave a like on the stream if you haven't already. And a thank you to you all for joining us here. The second half, moments away from kicking off. The St George captain, Chan, standing over the ball, closing in on a decade of service in the first grade area. A respected individual in the league, and particularly among his peers in red. The Wanderers with the responding to do. Their A-League side 2 goals up right now as well, by the way, over MacArthur further west in Sydney. Away for the second time, we are. Lovely interplay early with D'Amoto, who might not have a goal contribution to his name, though he may deserve. Was arguably the best player on the park in the first 45-plus stoppage. An early foray into the box. Oscar Morrison a little loose there with his clearance. Mitri was threatening a little pull and a push. St George City still have the ball on the edge of the box. Beaten Ovens to the ball. This is Hiroto D'Amoto. Composure personified by Mitri, and a clearance that came back towards the number 10 of St George, and it will be a throw-in right by the corner flag. A very impressive early start to the second half. Mikio will take it quickly. Another fullback with a long throw for City. Right into the danger area on the cusp of the 6-yard box, but eventually a under-hit header towards Tristan Vidakovic will force him into an easy save as he warms back up his gloves in the second half. That's Nathan Barry, who was all over the ball in the first half. Probably the most touches of any player out there, next to maybe Jai Rose. That is in Wanderers colours. A reminder, it is 1-0 to St George. Haven't noticed any substitutes at the halfway point. Great to be able to watch the right back, Bradley Marcel, in his second half. That 26 jersey. Barry launches that forward. Half a chance for Alat Abdul Rahman, who hasn't got past his man. Really well dealt with at the back there by Wabi, who's making a real case to keep his starting spot going forward. Well, he is a financial associate, so he is pretty good at locking down a deal. Little push off the ball. Free kick wanted by St George. Wish not granted as Vidakovic resets play. The Wanderers, the two centre-backs squaring between each other. 1, 2, and then again. Lual drops in to receive, as does Jai Rose. The press comes in from St George. Forces a clearance. Good work by St George, who have started hot here. On a night where it's cooled down incredibly quickly as well, by the way, for those who might be watching along. It was as hot a day we've had all year. At least the humidity made it feel that way, with the sun blaring in on you from the opposite side of your screens. So Mikio will take. Spent the bulk of his 20s playing in the lower leagues in England. Half a chance here if the ball bounces kindly or unkindly, depending on who you support. Abdul Rahman was there. But in the end, that's not deemed a pass back. That's what the Wanderers are appealing for. A bit of a hush fell around the ground as perhaps they were waiting for the whistle, and the beneficiaries might be those who've come away unscathed. Because here comes Damoto, finding Mikio, who we know can deliver, but that should be easy for Vidakovic, and that it is. An early, simple claim for the big man between the sticks. Barry, Rocco McNamara cuts back, goes back to the man who passed him the ball in the first place. Marcel, Awan Lual. 3 from 3 in the NPL, 1 goal in just over 40 minutes in the A-League men's. But that ball whisked away there from Matty Jackson by Rocco McNamara, who I remind you was the first player who was cautioned this evening, but has been perfectly okay since the cheese was shown. A little bit of a delay on the throw-in. Now finally comes in, I think, back towards Jackson. Jai Rose turning, trying to feed the ball between the midfield line. Didn't quite eventuate, and now they have a chance. Mitchell, I think, on the turn. Lovely! Back heel, back towards him, forcing a clearance here. Handball was the claim. I think the hands were by the side. Cleared away. That was a lovely bit of interplay. And this should go back by Tatafu to his keeper. You imagine it now does. Oh, under a little bit of pressure. Oh, my word, he's given it away. Of all people, Kenny. Square to Rose, who went for the Trivella dink. It was the wrong decision in the end. And the chance of the second half and the best chance of the Wanderers' whole game falls apart as quickly as it eventuated. And an offside flag is raised that gives the crowd and players alike to wonder, what if? Jack Kenny was determined to exit his box with the ball at his feet. Escapes. Well, that'll warm him back into the second half, I'm sure. A professional performance in the first. Header one there by Berry. Lawal, who's taken up a central position and then runs off to the left. Up against two with no support around him, and he loses the ball as a result. Although, Lawal gives it away again, but again under so much pressure. This time the Wanderers putting the pressure on St George. Forced into a clearance was Wabi. Into the Wanderers' technical area, the clearance went. Throw in, it'll be. They want to play it quickly. Quickly they do. Barry receives it back from Noah Ovens. Marcel. One too many touches, or at least the last one was a loose one. Jai Rose. Wanderers keep it by hook or by crook. Marcel, again on the ball, feeds it expertly well to Rose, whose touch was loose, but he recovered it well, then gave it away. Marcel in strong again, finds the number 10 of the Wanderers. Rose with a chance to make good on that chance that he missed a couple of moments ago. Offside flag raised as Alat Abdul Rahman picked up a ball inside the box, and he must feel frustrated that he couldn't time his run. Chance goes begging again. The Wanderers have had 2 in the opening moments of the second half. 7 minutes played. The intensity that was felt at the back end of the first crept its way quickly into the second. This is going to be a fun second half. Of that, I have no doubts. Once again, Mark Topoli here, your commentator. And thanks for tuning in for some Saturday night fun here at Penshurst Park, home of St George City. Beautiful, beautiful unofficial pitch. which has seen a goal from the penalty spot here tonight. Very, very long throw-in. Headed away by McNamara. Pot shot from distance, rising over. Vidakovic, underhand, rolls it to his centre-back, who then bounces it back to him, and the ball is back in play. Vidakovic going for a run out of his own box this time. Formerly of the youth system of Vasco da Gama. Prior to that, he was in the St George City system as well, was the now Wanderer. Vasco, of course, based out in Portugal. Long throw-in. One in the air, this time by Alat. In strong on Wabi. Those two have had a real good contest down that side. I want to see more of Oscar Moore and Harper Riles on the ball, the 23 and 20 respectively. All the attacking forays seem to be coming through Lual and Alat Abdul Rahman, although Lual, this is why. Can he cut it back? St George at 6s and 7s. They should square. They should score. They should surely score. And somehow Kenny gets there first. Did he take out his man? He did not. And now finally, surely through Tutafu, they will clear. They do. My word. A heart-in-mouth moment for the home side supporters. Mikio comes inside to find the one-time goal scorer who opened his account tonight. The captain, Erjan, goes out wide. In strong was McNamara. Had to be careful. Was pulled out, or at least pulled out of the full momentum of that move in the last moment, remembering he was already shown the cheese. Alat Abdul Rahman, Lawal, who created that chance through his tenacity and bravery. This has come out wide to Harper Riles, the ultimate impact sub of the Wanderers, but starting tonight hasn't been as impactful. What can he do in this second half? Oscar Morrison. Oh, just about gets that ball away under duress. Sent out wide by Noah Ovens. Lawal, the one-man press, cleared away with ease. Barry wins it with a powerful header. Jai Rose is there. And into the Wanderers technical area again. Pani Nikas getting a couple of touches tonight. Wanderers take their throw. Rocco McNamara doing so quickly. This is Ovens. Will it hold up? Doesn't look likely. It's not. An overhit pass by Bradley Marshall. All-Australian schoolboys representative. 3 from 4 starts for the number 26. Right, so changes afoot. It is going to be Harper Riles, the teenager, in his first couple of games, having joined from the Central Coast Mariners Academy. The impact sub, who's picked up 3 goal contributions off of the bench this year, will come off inside the hour mark. A change that looks to me like a certain number 14 by the name of Cade Bacchus. That it is. The third Bacchus brother. All originated from local Blacktown Association club Parkley FC. Big challenge in there on Jai Rose, who is helped to his feet by his oppressor in a show of sportsmanship that we love to see. Although there's concern for the man who stayed down. It is quite a long way from eye shot. A little gingerly to his feet. Everyone okay though, just about. But a free kick for Western Sydney. Cade Bacchus, 17 years old. Prior to today's match, he had played in all 6 available matches he's eligible for. Well, obviously excluding the 18s, that would be ridiculous, but he had played 20s in first grade. Today he didn't play 20s as the Wanderers won 3-0 over St George. Lovely ball out wide by the man who's got the assist to his name for the only goal of the game, and a chance for St George to double their ascendancy. Lovely work inside the box. Wanderers needing to be careful here. They've already given away 1 penalty. The delivery into the front post is good and cleared away by Ovens. And then cleared away again. Rose beaten to it by the physicality of St. George midfielders around him. First to the ball was the captain. In fact, it was Monaghan Viker, and a chance to deliver in from an acute angle, blocked off that corner. St. George show what they can do in transition. And now the big bodies come forward, and they're urged to slow things down as they set up. That's the one thing that these A-League academies are unlikely to have. It's height. And can St. George use that to their advantage? Tristan Vidakovic needs to be a big presence here. And a vocal one too. A chance from an in-swinging left footer. One hand raised. Perhaps the front post. Perhaps the back post. And the header away by the captain of the Wanderers. And the pot shot straight away on the volley. Well, one Japanese import has opened their account tonight. The other one was looking to do so as well, but not to be for Hiroto Domoto. Nonetheless, he's still been good. Ooh, and a slip up in concentration. And St. George are starting to put their finger on the pulse. Can they find the goal that you would imagine is decisive? 1 hour mark. Just about ticked on by the 2/3 mark of the game. Peterson. Was he offside? As he offloaded it, no. Matty Jackson, quick feet, left-footed ball. It was blocked off before it had any kind of leeway behind it. I think that's Alat Abdul Rahman looking to play it quickly. He's asking a lot of Oscar Moore. Far too much. Overcooked pass. Kenny. Long throw to Mikio. Crosses the halfway line, being tracked by Moore. Mikio still going as he runs inverted. This is Hiroto Domoto. Goes down under the challenge. Does not win a free kick. Not enough contact. Arwan Luwal, who can ride contact. Last touch was off him. He's demanding the sideline referee to give him the throw-in Wanderers' way. Not to be, and Mikio slows it down as St. George get into position. Long throw taken towards the one-time goal scorer, the match winner so far. Domoto. Beaten to it by Noah Ovens. One in the air by the captain, Urchan. Jai Rose using his frame well, winning a free kick. That's nicely done. And the Wanderers are given a free ticket to pass go and work their way out of that St. George press, which was starting to build up some steam. Ovens. Of course, for the opposition, Bray Ovens, who scored the second and equalising goal last week against Sydney Olympic, to come off of the bench, should he be selected to do so. Could have two Ovens on the pitch. Another touch for Nikas. That free kick just about 60 seconds ago, St. George for a good 5 minutes or so really had the Wanderers held back. And that one alleviation has allowed the Wanderers to move up about 30 yards on the pitch and work their way out of any kind of danger. Just that one roll by Jai Rose proving to be very, very beneficial for the visitors, who need a goal but also cannot afford against this kind of St. George City outfit to go down by a second goal. Rose just inside of his own half. Nice touch there by Moore. Rose goes down and potentially wins another challenge. He does not. He's unhappy. And here comes Monaghan Viker. But a ricochet, a bounce, and in the end, it'll be the Wanderers' ball. The captain and the vice-captain, I should say, trudging back into the line. Oh, a bit of space there for Cade Backus, who we haven't really seen on the ball, and fortuitously he gets it back somehow, finding its way to Oscar Moore, feeding it to Jai Rose, who wanted to put his body in the way of that, but Tatafu... Yeah, Tatafu has been a real presence in defence, but the way he was able to read that, to let it go out, it is a piece of skill which should not go unrecognised. Solid performance right now from the 23-year-old. Proving to be worth every penny Jack Kenny. 2 clean sheets so far, about to become 3 should the scoreline stay the way it is. Sends it so far. My word, he has some power in that right boot. That's frightening skill. Good press by Alat Abdulrahman. Picked up there by Cade Bacchus. Oh, this is looking good from St. George City. Will it be decisive, though? A game that has, for both sides, lacked the finishing touch on all but one occasion. Another chance for the height of the home side. Can they stand tall from this corner? No surprises that Lual is back to help out. Which of those 6'2" plus defenders and centralised midfielders might he take up? He's taken on Tatafu. That'll be good to watch. The in-swinger to be delivered in. Ball to the back stick. In the end, right into the hands of Vidakovic. Not the world's greatest corner, but not off by a whole lot either. That one was a little bit skewed there by Vidakovic, and it's forced Damoto, though, mind you, to put it out into touch. Marcel looking to play that one quickly, which he does, to find his right side of centre-back. And Owens crosses to his left side of centre-back, who crosses to his left back, and all 4 Wanderers defenders touch it in a matter of 5 seconds. Rose picks it back up. Truvella pass. Trying a little too hard, perhaps. It's been Rose's simplicity and decisiveness that's proven... Oh, chance. Tatafu. I was going to say, it's his simplicity and his decisiveness that's made him such a hot prospect among avid watchers of the NPL and fan favourites left and right. Oh, lovely read by Mikio. That's really well done by Luis Mikio. .65 minutes played, 1-0 to the home side. St. George up by a goal thanks to Jorn Peterson. And his first goal in City colours. What can the Wanderers do differently to try and crack open this defence? Tatafu was strong in there as Mikio took the ball off of Oscar Moore, who already in the last 5 minutes has had way more of the ball than he had for maybe the entire first half. Bacchus, first time pass off of the throw-in, takes it back and gives it back to the throw-in taker. Wanderers go inside their own half again to retain. No look pass of real cheek by Rocco McNamara. Ovens. Forced to play it quickly. Alat Abdulrahman now running directly at defenders, running directly at Berry, but still being marked by 2. Delivers a good ball in and cleared away by Tatafu. Umpteenth time of the game for Mason Tatafu. Wanderers get the ball back in play quickly. They deliver another ball in. It's overcooked. Not for the first time. Don't know if the aerial route is their option unless it's going right to the head of Awan Lual. Distinctly remember him nearly shattering the crossbar in the A-League men's against Brisbane Roar shortly before Ryan Fraser scored his maiden goal for the club on his debut. Lual was a real threat that day against senior professional opposition. But the ball's going to come to his head. And it hasn't on an occasion that I can remember or recall in this match. Lual does get his head to that one first, but it put Monaghan Viker in a good position. Sliding challenge brings about an advantage. Ball delivered in, blocked off by what part of the body? A hand perhaps, and a free kick on the edge of the 18-yard box. Wanderers are going to need a wall pronto. 67 minutes played. 1-0 still to the home side. The final third of the match. It is Paolo Mitri. So to go from 3 subs at halftime last week to after 68 minutes, none at all. A real change from Mirko Juril. Of course, the coach now in his 8th season, separated by 1 season off. It's the man with the assist to his name. Oh, put a ball in towards the front stick, and Monahan Waika went for the incredible. Wabi recycles. They had to be careful, though. He was the last man back. Lawal needed to track back. Ball into the box, cleared away by Barry. Up into the night sky. The ball will stay infield. Lawal competing for it. Goes down, wins a free kick. The attacker defending, the defender attacking. Well, it was the attacker doing his inverse job, who came away with an A+. A well-won foul. Speaking of the Wanderers A-League side, 3 to the good over MacArthur. Ryan Fraser, another goal. Looking for some inspiration perhaps here, the young'uns. A long searching ball over the top. Alat Abdul Rahman would love his 2nd goal of the season. But Wabi has dealt with it really, really well, although it's come back here to Alat. This is Cade Backus, I do believe, and the number 14 has it whisked away from him. Good read there, I think, by Mitri. I think that's Barry out of position doing the harp-on defending. And into touch it goes, this time into St George's technical area. And all the way back it goes, almost in line with the goalkeeper. And now Vidakovic goes on his merry way forward. Could probably still reach his crossbar from where he is now. Ovens living a little dangerously as the press comes in from Peterson. The match winner so far. Should the scoreline stay this way? Oh, that would hurt. That will sting. He's seeing stars at the moment. Yep. That's not a pretty one, I think, on Matty Jackson, but he's okay. He's a tough cookie. Seen that once or twice already today. In fact, it was Paolo Mitri. Throw-in it will be for St George City. Approaching 10 minutes to 9. And 70.5 minutes played. A goal separates these two. And St George not quite yet counting down the minutes or the moments until their first win of the season. But a whole performance that spells improvement across the board. In my most humble. Barry, a surging run forward and then a surging pass, searching for a Wanderers attacker. Nice bit of interplay here. Gyros, just a bit far-fetched for Cade Backus. And the 3-cap under 17, Joey, was not able to get any kind of a limb on that one. At what point does St George start playing the delay game? There's been no hints at all of any kind of quote-unquote dark arts, if you like, a colloquial term to describe anything to do with player and game management. Monahan Viker, lovely pass to Peterson. Got his tail up after his goal at the end of that first half, but just doing too much with it. All the while beats Tatafu to it. And Awan Lawal, he's 3 from 3 so far. He turns provider. It's won by Berry. Stood his ground very well. Wanderers have the ball again. St George sitting some 5 to 7 yards deeper in the last 10 minutes or so. But they're happy to let the Wanderers just muck around with it. St George still without a personnel change inside the last 20 minutes. Look at this. Another surging run forward, a sliding challenge. Want enough of the ball. And now Barry's out of position. But Jai Rose harping on his man. Doing enough to clear it, St George. Peterson. Clipped out wide. It's a foot race, which the sideline will win. Fair play by the St George ball boy there. And it looks like there will finally be a personnel change. There's 3, 4, 5 St George players stretching down on their haunches, testing things out. So is that Wabi who's going to the sideline perhaps? The Wanderers look like they're going to make a change too. So Wabi goes off. A defender, you would imagine, for a defender. A host of changes, and we'll keep you up to date as I try and keep up too. Could have been the goalkeeper's ball. Oh, and straight away onto the pitch, and could be an instant impact off the bench. Goal kick, says the assistant referee. Wanderers have brought on Lachlan Lockie sat out. The 19-year-old who scored 24 in 18 starts to claim the League One Men's Player of the Year, formerly of the Bulls and the Sharks. He finds his way up into the NPL New South Wales. He's looking for a maiden St George goal, is sat out. I should say Wanderers maiden goal, forgive me. It's getting late. Occupying the right wing position. He also missed the 2024 season due to requiring a knee reconstruction, poor kid. Into touch it goes again. Barry. Cade Bacchus, first time in the game that he's had some space to drive forward. This is Marcel. Ovens goes square. Peterson leading the St George one-man press, but the rest of the St Georgians in a very, very well-structured midfield and then defensive line. The Wanderers have their work cut out for them. Over-hit pass. Looks like Stefano Rossello in the number 8 jersey has come on as well for the home side. The 21-year-old who's a UTS Northside futsal representative. You can identify him not just by the classic number 8 jersey on his back, but by the extremely technical and intricate, neat footwork he possesses. Let's see if we get to see it in these last moments of the game. Also, clean tackle there by D'Amato. And then just couldn't get to his feet enough and quick enough. Lovely first real involvement by Jesse Foti, the former Wanderers Academy player who's a real regular goal scorer against his former employers. St George on the halfway line get through about 30 yards of space with one crisp driven pass. Ball into the box, easy for Vidakovic. Confirmation by today's ground announcer here at St George City's home ground. Foti in place of Marby. Rossello on as well. Cade Bacchus. Marcel. Bacchus again. Inside the last 14 of the game. Here is Wanderers number 14. Spreading it, testing pass for Alat, Abdul Rahman. And the teenager couldn't get it under control. Well, half a chance there. Peterson looked to pull up a little limp there, and now he's moving a little gingerly. Hopefully the match winner is okay. He's been leading the press all by himself these last 20 minutes or so. And St George have at least not quite parked the bus, but it's getting a little close to that point in the game. But they are doing so expertly well. They are not letting anything come near Jack Kinney's goal. Great shielding, great use of physicality, and great defending overall. Subs a foot again, perhaps, for the Wanderers. Another change, a foot. Is that the centre-back going off, perhaps? No, he's just grabbing a drink. Oscar Morrison also grabbing a drink. There was a change from the Wanderers amid a body of players huddling around Pani Nikas. Just over 10 minutes left to go here at Penshurst Park. Wanderers past the halfway line, a hopeful searching ball into the air and cleared away by Solomon Vaika. One there by Domoto. Still doing well is Hiroto Domoto. Trying to put some pressure on the right back of the Wanderers, but he's had a really composed game. Nice touch out of the sky by Cade Bacchus. And then Barry sends it out wide. That looks to me like the birthday boy Ben Mewett has come on. 19 today, 28th of February. That is today. He's, of course, the man who picked up an assist off the bench with an expertly good left-footed ball into the box last week. Ben Mewett found Harper Riles against Sydney United at King Thomas Love. That combination can't happen, but Mewett can certainly deliver a good ball into the box. That's because Harper Riles is off the pitch, of course. And that's the first instance of the "we're happy with this lead" shown by St George. But the Wanderers have not really come close in these last 15 to 20 minutes or so to looking likely to break down this resilient, fortified mid to low block. This is really interesting tactical adjustments happening on the fly in real time. Lovely work there, though, by the right back who's inverted. Marshall's had a great game all day. Recovered well by Lockie Satout. Mewett, left-footed pass, short to find his captain. I believe Oscar Morrison back out wide to the birthday boy. Does fortune favour the party man? Back to Ben Mewett. Square pass. Bacchus. Marcel. Allah Abdurrahman comes back to the right-hand side. Bacchus being hounded. Peterson stepped off at the pivotal moment. Barry. Too strong, too physical. Wanderers are struggling to pick apart their opposition. Stretches occurring just outside St George's own box. Peterson goes off as the match winner right now. His goal from the spot, so far proving decisive. I do believe, in fact, it will be Ahmad Taleb. In fact, it is in the number 30 jersey. The man who's picked up 71 goals in his last 92 starts playing in the League One men's division. A real opportunity for him in NPL New South Wales to make a name for himself. He will lead the line and work hard, you can imagine, in the final moments of this intriguing contest. St George make another sub. A defensive sub. Barry comes away with it. Launching it towards Lockie Satout. Barry forced to do defensive work, setting it into touch, and St George, they will enter the Wanderers' defensive third for the first time, certainly in recent memory. It has not been a second half, outside of the first couple of seconds of it, where St George looked like they really wanted to double their advantage while they still had fresh legs. Although Taleb was lurking. Other than that, St George have sat off in the second half and played safe. And safety could be rewarded with their first 3 points. Yeah, so as you might have heard, Roman Chulina has come onto the pitch. Another son of a gun, but this time for the home side. And perhaps nephew of a gun in Hugo McAteer, whose uncle was Jason McAteer with 52 Ireland caps that returned 3 goals. A Liverpool Sunderland representative. Rose, half a chance for Armand Lawal to rescue a point late on in the match. Cleared away. St George getting desperate. The first time that they were tested, a whole host of personnel changes. Can they keep this block on for the final moments of the game? There's still 5 to go, plus anything to add on from the referee, Kelly Jones. Domoto just sends it into space, looking for Taleb, but he's not going to find his foot on that ball. Easily recovered there by Ovens. These St George boys who have just come onto the pitch need to work hard. Wanderers with that youthful energy about them, that spring in their step. Lawal was the intended target. Bacchus comes back to him somehow. Taleb with a good touch there. Space either side. Monahan Vika has inherited the captain's armband in the absence of Tarek Erjan. What a performance for him, considering the circumstances. Fantastic. But the Wanderers are finding some space in the midfield. St George need to keep their composure. This is the test of what they're made of this year. Within minutes of a first win in round 4. Wanderers already have a win to their name against a fellow academy side in a Sydney derby. A more professional, mature opponent here tonight. Can they find a way to break them down late? Marcel's been good. Left-footed ball in. Cleared away, I think, by Chelina. Picked up there by Ahmed Taleb. He's got space to his right. 2 options in red. He picks the one slightly behind the other. And it was given away. And the Wanderers come forward again. St George looking a little worse for wear. Ball over the top. Kenny decisive. Really decisive. And he stands right on the edge of his own 18-yard marking. He knew exactly what he was doing. Very, very good work by the goalkeeper, who sends it as far as he possibly can. Some 70 yards. Bang, straight onto the head of Ben Mewett. And that one's hurt him a little. No surprises whatsoever. That's not an easy thing to pluck out of the sky. Off your noggin. 3.5 minutes to go. A third clean sheet on the horizon in just 4 matches. The competition will take notice of St George's toughness to break down. Muir in tough, not quite giving away a foul. St George still threatening as they hold the ball up high. This is the best area of the pitch to slow down time, or perhaps speed it up, but slow it down when the ball is dead, like right now. Hold it up here, St George. You're on the cusp of a great win. A hard-fought win. A season-launching win. No goals conceded in their last 3 halves of football. Perhaps I haven't spoken too soon for St George City fans. Strong there by the inherited captain. Armband, Wera in Monahan Vika. Could this ball be delivered in? It was a misstep. Mewett. It does enough to shield the ball out. The Wanderers get a throw. And for all the Wanderers' good work in the moments subsequently following those drastic personnel changes by St George, it looks like the St George subs have sharpened up. Jai Rose is tackled on the edge of the box by Rossello, and the free kick is given away. And the Wanderers need to be the beneficiaries of this, but a clear slowdown in their plate doesn't bring about a yellow card, but the Wanderers play as quickly as they can. Good composure shown by the young lads here, who are running out of minutes, who are running out of seconds to find a way back into this game. They're on their halfway line now. St. George, every man behind the ball. The Wanderers inside, now outside of their half, spreading it out wide. Marcel delivering a hopeful ball into the box. Bouncing once, controlled, letting it bounce again. Clearing it to the edge of the box. It's still in a dangerous area and finally scooped away, but a little bit awkwardly. This St. George outfit getting a little nervous. Can the Wanderers smell and then eventually taste blood? What are you made of? Square pass infield to Oscar Morrison. Lovely work. Morrison. Every single Wanderer bar Tristan Vidakovic, the goalkeeper, basically in the attacking third. But a tired, a fatigued pass, a stressed out pass goes dead. Inside the last minute of regular time, St. George can smell that first victory. That elusive first victory. Urged to hurry up, but then also told to get back to the mark. Then goes past it anyway. But a throwing given away to Lawal of all people. The Wanderers are still inside their own half now with that backwards pass and have to get forward quickly. Ovens now. What can he cook up? Bacchus makes a couple of yards, pins one over the top. Picked up by Jai Rose. Sends it out wide. A chance for the right back to deliver a ball in. Feels like this has to be it. Lawal is threatening. Down goes Tatafu. What a game the centre back has had. So in taken as quick as possible. Back towards their halfway line. We are now into added on time. The question is, how much time will we get? How much time will the Wanderers get? How much time will St. George City have to hold off here at home? Morrison from distance and forcing a sharp save. The ball is still in play. Picked up there by Mewett. Trying to get anything on it off his left boot. Into the box. Cleared away by the goalkeeper and sent away. St. George survive another scare. Wanderers trying to bring it back. Every single St. George player sitting back in strong. Wanderers trying everything to break them down, but they've been so resilient from the word go. Pressed by Taleb. Well done there by Ovens. Still we eat into added on time. Taleb wins it back. The goalkeeper's out of position. Is he fouled by the captain? Taleb doing his best to ride the challenge. If he wins a foul, they'll be able to eat off more time. Still he goes on. Exceptional work by Taleb. He's got an option to his right, but so many right jerseys around him. He plays the wrong option, and the Wanderers have the ball. And the Wanderers have to play quickly with that ball they have. And forward they come. And St. George trudge back. Another chance for the Wanderers to create another moment that St. George have to defend. It's all hands on deck in red and white. Sent out wide to the right. This is Satout, who goes back behind his own half. Wanderers got to get this ball forward in a bit of a frantic hurry. Pushing the ball to the left now. Mewett, who we know can deliver a good one. A lot of the crosses have come from the right back, though. Back behind the halfway line again. St. George won't mind this as they sit in firm. Ovens. Little tug on the shirt there, didn't bring about the whistle. And now the no advantage called. Morrison's going to be urged to play this quickly. But instead now he opts to slow it down. Vidakovic staying rooted into his own half. St. George with every player inside their defensive half. Third, I should say. Jack Kenny standing in the middle between his sticks. It would bring the proverbial roof down if he were to score from this distance. He plows it low and it's always going wide. Perhaps it was looking for a wayward foot, but it feels like the kind of chance that goes a-begging that just about follows the final whistle of the match. Will it be? How much time do we still have left? But it feels like that Wanderers momentum was just taken out of it there by what probably will prove to be a rush decision by this youthful Western Sydney side. Kenny will send this to the other side of St. George if he can. He goes as far as humanly possible, my word, Edison. St. George have the ball up high. Wanderers have got to get it forward. But now it's St. George, perhaps looking for the goal to bring about some early celebrations. They're going to hold it in the corner. Smartly done, goal kick. Wanderers happy with that. Still, we go on. Vidakovic has to play this quickly. An option to his right, which he does play as quick as he can. It's Ovens. St. George getting back into position. Oh. Nasty challenge, but the teenager is okay. All ball. And a bit of Bacchus. Newitt had to stretch real far to get that ball. Does he win a free kick? He's going to really want one. So does the Wanderers technical area. It's a St. George free kick, or perhaps he was offside. No, I feel like it's a St. George free kick. We'll expect this one to head towards one of the corners. This has got to be one of the last moments of the game. We are into the 94th minute of the match. And St. George can taste that first win. Oh, the referee's got in the way, unfortunately. They're going to get the ball, the Wanderers. Full-time whistle called as Awan Lawal looked to set up maybe one final chance for the Wanderers. But arguably, St. George City's best performance of their season returns their biggest points haul of the season. 3 incredibly well put-together halves in a row earns them a point last week against Olympic on the road, and now back at home with that spring in their step. They get their first 3-point return here at Penshurst Park. What a fantastic performance it was by both teams in totally different manners. The way in which the Wanderers kept trying to play their game was admirable, certainly, but St. George's low block and rigidity when the iron was hot for the Wanderers is certainly something to be admired, and they are already looking like they are one of the best defensive teams in the competition. That's 3 clean sheets. 3 clean sheets, which can be direct thanks towards the likes of Tatafu, towards the likes of Urjon, towards the likes of Mikio, who played exceptionally well tonight. The entire backline, including the substitutions as well. But, of course, Jack Kenny, a 3rd clean sheet in 4 games. Fantastic stuff. Only 2 conceded in 4. That is a fantastic return. My name is Mark DePoli. Thanks so much for joining us here tonight. Round 4 between these two ends 1-0 the way of Jorn Peterson and his St. George City outfit. Congratulations to Jorn for getting his first goal of the season and on Australian shores in these St. George colours. 3 points for the first time goes their way. Thanks for being here, guys. Don't forget to like the stream. And good night.
Great job. Thank you. What's the shots in the graphic? Someone in NCR.